That's the basis of NATO expansion. And of course, there are two big expansions. The first one is in 1999. This is when Poland comes in, the Czech Republic comes in, Hungary comes in. And then the second big wave of NATO expansion is in 2004, and that's when Romania, the Baltic states, and a number of other countries come into NATO. Okay? The Soviets, then the Russians, did not want NATO expansion. And from the mid-1990s forwards, the Russians screamed bloody murder about NATO expansion. But they could not do anything about it, and they were not willing to do anything about it. Then comes the 2008 Bucharest summit. This is when the trouble starts, right here in Bucharest. When the summit is over with, NATO issues a decree which says unequivocally that Georgia and Ukraine will become part of NATO. It was impossible, because of German opposition and to a lesser extent French opposition, for NATO to address that issue during the actual Bucharest summit. Nevertheless, the Americans insisted when the summit was over with that this decree be issued which said that Ukraine and Georgia would become part of NATO. The Russians had had enough with NATO expansion. They went ballistic. And they basically made it clear that a red line had been drawn in the sand. And there was going to be no more NATO expansion in Eastern Europe. Not surprisingly, in August 2008, remember the Bucharest summit here, Bucharest, April 2008. In August 2008, not surprisingly, you have a war between Russia and Georgia. Because Georgia is operating under the illusion that it can get tough with the Russians, and the Americans and the West Europeans will protect them because we intend to bring Georgia into NATO. But of course, the West Europeans and the Americans do nothing, and Russia wins the war. Then the second big crisis comes in February 2014, February 22nd, 2014, to be exact, and you end up not only with a war in the eastern part of Ukraine involving the Russians, but the Russians take Crimea. This is all a result of the Bucharest summit, and it's a result of the fact that NATO expansion went too far.